Hello everybody and welcome back. The last time we left the party, Silvia and Liz had a very nice day in the Adventurers and Explorers Club, met some interesting people, had some nice food, walked along the docks, saw some interesting things. Donard, Carrick and Malin had a very different day. They got caught up in a riot. Some guy was agitating a crowd quite successfully. He fled when the riot broke out. The boys followed him into a warehouse and fought off some people. They have got 2 captives and a missing magic user. In that fight, I did not use hold person, just as an experiment. It can end a fight before it begins, and considering how long that fight went on for, I think I'll be using it in the future. There is a good reason why it ends fights before they begin. Regardless of that, the guys are in a situation here because Malin could be in danger. He could be caught up in the riot, or just be jumped by some hoods. Right, so Donard is going to cast Hold Person on these 2. We'll assume it just works. Carrick is going to hold them hostage while Donard runs out, looks for a guard, and there are plenty of guards. There's a riot going on, and asks for help and turns these 2 over to the authorities. They can go to jail. We've worked out that Rowan Blackthorn has so many connections in this city that whatever happens to these guys in jail, what information they give up if they're interrogated, we're sure that we can find out that information via our little halfling friend. So that's what happens. These guys get carted off to jail. The guard says, "Thank you, citizens, for doing your duty." Well, we have to go back out into the streets and look for Malin. Donard curses him, saying, "Has he just run off?" And Carrick gives Donard a very hard stare because it was only about a week ago when Donard ran off. They're in the nest about here. They kind of backtrack some streets, look down some of these little entryways and alleyways, trying to see if Malin is anywhere, and they can't find him. And they go back to the inn to look for help. So they're going to go back to the Splintered Diamond Inn, where Liz and Silvia will be hanging out. They'll wait for them to return, so they'll sit in the tavern area. And when they come back from their very pleasant day out, they've got the bad news to tell Liz that we've lost her brother. And of course, she's very distressed. We go back to the Duke's League Inn on the grounds that Rowan Blackthorn will show up to see if he can help us. He went off for a nice dinner with some judges and a couple of actresses. We've become very reliant on him, and eventually that's what happens. The little halfling comes back to the room, sees everybody sitting around looking very anxious. And of course Liz and Silvia now know the name of the Veiled Society, and it might be them who have taken Malin. When the little halfling comes back, Rowan starts going through his chest, trying to tidy up some things and sort things out. He suddenly asks Liz whether her missing brother has an insatiable curiosity, and she says yes. And he says, "Are you good at picking locks?" And Liz, her heart starts to sink, and she says yes. Rowan declares, "'Cause someone has been in my chest and taken something." And Liz looks really guilty, and she says, "Malin had a hunch that you were hiding something." And Rowan says, "And that hunch was?" And Liz says, "He didn't say." So Rowan says, "So he probably didn't have a hunch, he just made that up as an excuse to take my private property." And Liz blurts out, "But he didn't take anything, I saw him the whole time." The whole time? Liz remembers that Malin asked her to look under the bed for something that wasn't there, for a hunch that didn't exist. "By Mystara," she exclaims, "he tricked me. He's always been able to do that." Rowan Blackthorn grabs the edges of his jacket and starts working the fabric with his thumbs. "Well, my hurt feelings and that real violation of trust is, for the moment, less important than your brother's life, so we'll sort that out first." "His life?" Liz exclaims. "What did he take?" asks Donard. Rowan holds up his bag of the black cat mushrooms. "Some of this is missing." "You think he's gone off somewhere to smoke it?" asks Carrick. "But he doesn't own a pipe," says Liz, not realising that Malin actually came out of a shop here called the House of Many Smokes. "Poor idiot," says Rowan. "It stinks to the heavens." If he has found a quiet alley in the nest to smoke it, he'll attract attention. Who knows what will happen then? So all of them head into the nest to look for Malin. They don't have any luck, and the evening is drawing on. Rowan says he's going to pull some strings. The constabulary of the nest is very small. It really is lawless here, but Captain Montano does her best with what she has. And Rowan has asked her to help him with his investigation into Black Cap. She has in turn asked him to reciprocate. Can he help her with the investigation into the death of that courtesan? Rowan says to Liz, I'll help you find your brother if you help me investigate the death of that courtesan, and when I tell Captain Montano you're helping me, she'll help you find your brother. And that's how it works here. We all help each other. Now, isn't that far better than not trusting each other? And Liz has nothing to do but look downward and look really guilty. What they do is they then spend the rest of the night walking the streets with the night's watch, and they don't find Malin. And when the dawn breaks, they've nothing to do but go back to the inn and catch up on their sleep. And hopefully, after pulling some strings, the little halfling will save the day. It's the next day at the Duke's League Inn. Silvia and Liz are back in their own inn. Liz is clearly distressed. They couldn't find Malin last night. They wake up, it's quite late in the morning because it was a late night. The guys are woken by a knock at the door, and first visitor they have today is the little halfling weaponsmith who has made some very small crossbows. One for Rowan, one for Carrick, one for Silvia, and one for Liz. Carrick and Silvia are demi-humans, which means they have got basic skill in all weapons. Liz is unskilled in a crossbow, so she will take a penalty. These crossbows are about the length of a forearm, so if you hold them in one arm, the end of the crossbow can sit in the crook of your elbow. And they're extremely well made. It looks almost like they were made by someone who makes violins. These are not crude things. And Rowan says to the other halfling, I'll square you up later. He's going to hit our party with the bill. Fair enough. Normal crossbows have quite a long range of 210 feet. These don't. These are the equivalent range of a short bow. But the good thing is they can be hidden under a cloak. Right. There's a second visitor at the inn. If you remember, way at the start, there was a guy called Theosius at the inn who asked Donard, Carrick and Malin if they were looking for work. Well, this is a note from Theosius, and here we are in the employment section, and the innkeeper gives us a note, and the note says we have to deliver a package, and we're to head to a boat by the dockyard called the Jade Sea. And there was a warning too, gentlemen. He said there were those who would try to take what you carried. Okay, the guys have been given a mission, so the party is going to split up again. Rowan is going to take Silvia and Liz into the nest to help him with the inquiry into the death of that courtesan as a favour to the constable of the nest. And as I've said, she in turn is helping him with his inquiries into the dealing in drugs. And Carrick and Donard have been given their own commission. They're going to go to the docks to go to the Jade Sea, and on board, well, what will they find? So we'll cut straight to the docks here, and for the first time Carrick and Donard can see this massive construction site, which I said is like an anthill of men labouring away with massive amounts of machinery. Okay, the Jade Sea is finally visible ahead. It is late, the sun has set. It isn't, this is early morning. The deckhand, a wizened old man, does not look friendly. He snaps in a screechy voice, "What do you want? Who sent you here?" We're going to tell him we were sent by Theseus. The old man scampers off. In a few minutes he returns with another man. The deckhand grins and nods. "Here's your package, mateys. Hee hee, have fun, you lubbers." "I'm Simeon Tornescu," says the other man. "I am a statesman. It is important that I reach the senator's house in secrecy. Since you are new to town, you will not draw the attention his bodyguards will. Will you help?" Suddenly, a number of ragged-looking men approach the base of the gangplank. The men carry swords and clubs, and in this case short bows. One man steps forward and kneels on one knee. In a slightly mocking tone he says, "O Lord Simeon, our sovereign master Prince Demetrios, ruler of the beggars, sends us his solemn oath of homage to the Tarnescu. Receive us into your service." At this, Simeon laughs uproariously, clapping his hands and stamping his feet. This guy seems like a real tool. "Well said, dog of a beggar," says Simeon, "and so you shall join my bodyguard." If you read a bit more up on the life of Specularum and the guilds, there is a beggars guild, and the Tarnescu family are kind of the patrons of it. So it seems that these are ne'er-do-wells, the homeless, and they're here to support Simeon. Clearly, word has indeed gotten around that Simeon is the killer of Lucia Vorloi, and it seems these guys don't believe that. But we're going to go on board ship for a minute first, just to tell Simeon of everything that we know so far, which is that he's the main suspect in killing Lucia Vorloi. He knows this. He's not been a hermit, but he insists on his innocence. So it's up to us to escort him off this ship and into the city to whoever this senator is. I'm assuming this senator is going to offer him a safe place to stay while the city looks like it is about to collapse into chaos. Right, this is Carrick, Donard, Simeon. These are the members of the Beggars Guild, and we're coming off the gangplank of the ship, and all of a sudden shots are fired from nowhere. So let's just see who gets hit and who doesn't get hit. We'll do this one on Carrick, and that's a miss. We'll do this one on that guy, and that hits AC6, and these guys have AC6, so this one here already is from 13 to 10 HP. That misses, and that misses. Well, we run and take cover. So Simeon runs first. This guy is a fop. Donard has instantly disliked him, and we run and take cover here behind these crates. And as we run, I'm going to give these guys another shot each. These three here are the ones who were lagging behind, so it's 2 on him. That's a miss. No, actually, that's a hit. 3 of these characters are level 4 fighters, which means they have a THAC0 of 16, because they also have a dex bonus. He has an AC of 6, that was a roll of 10. Okay, that's 3 hit points off him again. He's down to 7. I assume it was 3. This guy's also under him, and that's another hit. He's not doing too well. 2 on Carrick. That's a miss. These 3 are slightly lower level, and that's a miss. And then the final 2 on this guy, and that's a hit for 5 damage. He's down to 9 HP. That's a miss. These guys have a THAC0 of 18. They have 16. And these beggars are level 3, so their THAC0 is 19 plus 1 for a dex bonus, so it's 18. Donard has a sling. Carrick has his new little crossbow. Right, so it's now officially round 1. Let's roll for initiative. And they get initiative. Right, we have cover. And this is all medium range. There is no short range bonuses. So we're going to do this all again. First guy hits, and this guy's down to 3 HP. Second guy throws an 11, and that hits AC 5, and that's another point off him. This character's nearly dead. 2 more on Carrick. Okay. That hits -3. That easily hits Carrick. And that's 6 points off him. And that hits AC -1. No, that hits AC 1. Remember, they're lower level. 2 more on him. That's a miss. And that hits AC 4, yep. And 2 more points off him. Okay, our turn. Right. Is this guy gonna duke it out? He's gonna run and hide. Carrick with this little crossbow. Gonna take on this one. And he misses. This guy is gonna take on that one. He misses. This guy is gonna take on one on the end. And he misses. And this guy's gonna go for that one on the end. And he misses. And Donard's gonna cast Cure Light Wounds on this guy who's got about 4 arrows sticking out of him. And he does a massive 2 points of healing. So he's up to 4. Round 2. And we get initiative. Right, this guy's gonna poke his nose out and shoot at this one. And he hits AC 9, that's a miss. Donard is going to try and fire Sling Stone. Do him last. He hits Sling Stones. Carrick hits good and does 6 damage to this character. He's down to 11 HP. This one hits AC 6. Takes 5 points off this one. He's down to 9. And these 2 are on the guy at the end. Ah yes, excellent hit. And takes 6 points off him. He's down to 7 HP. And that's a miss. Right, it's the enemy's turn. Yep, and he's gone. That's one of our beggars gone. This one's going to fire Donard. Misses. We've got 2 on Carrick. That's a miss. And that's a hit. That's Carrick down to 12. And we've got 2 on this guy on the end. And that's a hit. He's down to 6. And that's a miss. It's round 3. We get initiative. Carrick again. Misses. This guy hits, does another 2 points. These 2 miss and miss. Spells, second Cure Light Wounds. That's 5 points. Carrick's up to 17. There go. 2 on Donard. Oh god, that's a hit for 5 points. That's a miss. 2 on Carrick. It's a miss. It's a miss. And then 2 on this beggar on the end. That's a hit for 2 points. He's down to 5. And that's a miss. Right, round 4. They get initiative. Let's do all that again. It's a miss on Donard. It's another miss. 2 on Carrick. He hits AC 0, -1 for cover. No, that's a miss. That's a miss. And then 2 on this end guy. That's a miss. And that's a miss. Right, our turn. We'll do Donard with a sling. He can try and go for this one. That's a miss. Carrick. His that go. Oh, that's a miss. This one. Another miss. And these 2 on that one. That's a miss. And that's another miss. Okay. Round 5. We get initiative. Right, same thing again. this time Donard is going to cast Hold Person. Let's just end this fight as soon as possible. So we'll do missiles first. We'll do Carrick on this guy. He hits AC 6. He does 2 damage. This guy's down to 9 HP. This guy misses. And the final 2 miss. He hits AC 5. And he does 1 damage to the guy in the end, who's down to 5. Spells. Now Donard is going to cast Hold Person on 4 people, and he's going to choose the middle 4. These guys are high level, 14 or more, 16 or more. I'll do green, orange, green, orange. Those 2 fail. And those 2 fail. So they're held. Their turn. There's only 1 on Donard. And that misses. And there's 1 on the end guy. That misses. Right, round 6. We get initiative. Let's take out these mobile guys. Right, the first one. Carrick hits and does 3 damage. He's down to 14. We'll do the 2 archers on him. That's a miss. And that's a miss. And then Donard with a sling. Donard hits a sling. He hits and does 4 damage. That guy's down to 10 HP. Right, so the middle 4 are held. So it's only him on Carrick. No, he's on Donard. That's a 15. That isn't good enough to hit. And this one on the end. That's a miss. Round 7. They get initiative. That misses Donard. And that hits the guy in the end. And he's dead. Or go. That's a miss. It's a miss. That's a miss. Have I forgotten about him the whole time? Clearly. And that's a hit. And this guy takes another point of damage. He's down to 4. Round 8. And they get initiative. Right, I'm going to do a morale check. A 9 or more for each of them. We'll do a group. I'll do a group morale. They fight on. Round 8. And we have initiative. We've done quite well on initiatives. Donard hits and does 1 damage. That guy's down to 9. Carrick. That's a throw of 9, that's a miss. These 2 are on this end guy. And that's a miss. And that's a miss. This guy. That's a 16. He hits AC 0. And that's enough to hit Donard. So Donard is down to 26. And the guy on this end misses. Round 9. They get initiative. It's a miss. And that's a miss. Well, it helps if I threw the right dice. That's another hit from Donard. And that's another 2 points off. This guy, he's down to 9. It's a miss from Carrick. And then we've got 2 archers on this one. That hits AC 6 just. It takes 6 points off him. He's dead. The guy's going to move forward a bit and try and go for the one in the end. And he misses. It's round 10. It's mutual. Right, there's only him left. I'm going to do another morale check for him. And it holds up. Let's see him shoot. And he hits Donard for another 4 points. Our cleric is down to 22. We'll have it be. Yep, and another 2 points off him. He's down to 5. It's a miss. This guy misses. And this guy misses. So it's round 12. He gets initiative. He misses Donard. He's only got 5 HP left. And Donard hits quite nicely and takes 4 of them off. Whoops. Carrick hits last one and takes off his final HP. He's dead. And there are 4 paralysed people here. Who are they? Well, we have to wait for them to come out of paralysis. Simeon steps forward. We've got 2 dead beggars from the Beggars Guild. These 2 go over and look at their comrades and tend to them. We go up to see who these people are, and Simeon goes up and says, "Is all of this over Lucia? I swear it. I swear it, I had nothing to do with that." And Donard just looks at this fop and says, "Shut up going on about yourself. This is not about you, okay? We're going to have to get the authorities for the North End to round up these characters and take them off to jail and try and get some info out of them." Right, so that's the kind of afternoon the boys have had. I wonder what Silvia and Liz are up to. The deeper you go into the nest, the more maze-like it becomes. There's nothing to distinguish one filthy run-down street from another, and the perpetual mud is never changing. Rowan takes Liz and Silvia to a fairly solid, decrepit building. There's a lamp glowing in the window behind a piece of red glass. "I have a feeling this interview might go better with, well, a woman's touch," he says, "and they don't like talking to the law." The halfling knocks on the door, and the madam answers. She recognises Rowan well enough. She remembers him from the morgue when the coroner questioned the dead courtesan. She never forgets a face, which is why she has been in business for so long. "Can I help you?" she asks in the most unhelpful tone. "I would like to talk to some of your girls, if I may," says Rowan. "What about?" the madam snaps back. "Why, the murder of that poor young woman." The madam bristles visibly at this, but she realises this little halfling is connected to the constabulary, so it's best to go along with him. She steps back from the doorway and jerks her head to bid the party to enter. She points to a side room. "Wait in there." The room can't even be called faded grandeur. The furniture may have once belonged to a fine house, but it is in a bad state of disrepair, and if it ever had a colour before, that colour is now grey. "You would think," says Liz, "she'd be glad we're here to help." They hear the madam screech to the upstairs, "Coral, Lapis, down here." There's a banging of doors and a clumping of feet on the stairs. The madam gives the courtesans a good talking to in the hall before showing them into the room. They enter and take a seat. "Which one of you ladies is Coral?" asks Rowan. The one with the red hair raises her hand. "Me, 'cause of my lovely hair." "And I was called Lapis 'cause of my blue eyes," says the other. "To get to business," says Rowan. "We're here about Ruby." The courtesans look distressed. They clearly care more than the madam. "My friends here," he indicates to Liz and Silvia, "would like to ask you a few questions." "What kind of person was she?" asks Liz, who can't think of a better question. "Oh, she was lovely," says Coral. "Really funny too," says Lapis. "Always a laugh." "Playing jokes?" asks Liz. No, says Coral, "but she was good at doing impertinent, taking the mickey out of people, especially her Johns. She was very good at doing a judge," Lapis giggles. Rowan humphs. He knows a few judges. "Did the madam like her?" asks Silvia. The girls look anxiously at each other, then Coral whispers, "No." "No?" asks Rowan.
Between us, Coral lowers her voice, I think she had a rich John, and I mean very rich, and the madam thought she was holding money back from her, not paying her cut.
Why do you think she had a rich person, John? Asks Liz, also whispering.
"'Cause," says Lapis, "she always had a bit too much money to spend, and we think she hid money, but we can't find it."
Do you know who this man was? Asks Silvia. The courtesans nod.
"He hung around her all the time. I'm sure he was there the night she was murdered."
Who? Asks Rowan impatiently.
"I don't know his name," says Coral carefully, "but I've seen him before. He was that tough that made a fool of himself in front of his girlfriend and everyone down the docks, when he got on one knee and she brushed him off."
Liz and Silvia both say, Simeon Tornescu?
"That's the name everyone's talking about, isn't it? Who killed that rich girl."
"Are you sure?" says Rowan. "And I mean sure that it was him." Coral nods.
"I was walking the docks, when he proposed. I saw it all, and you don't forget a face in this game, and I'm sure it was him who was hanging around Ruby. Even in the dark, I'm sure it was him."
"Well," says Rowan thoughtfully, "thank you for your time." He gives them 5 silver pieces each. As they leave the brothel, the madam shows them out with a face of steely politeness. They walked quietly for a few streets until they were out of sight of the brothel. Then Rowan broke the silence. Well, it's not looking too good for Simeon Tornescu, is it?" Liz starts to sob. "It's not looking too good for Malin either, is it? And, well, let's hope next session has some good news. And I'll see you then."